Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Edwin. In today's video, I want to share my story on how golf, that's right, you heard golf, took me on a path to becoming a UX designer. Stay tuned. Believe it or not, the road to UX design actually started out with golf. Every year from 2010 to 2011, I would spend my weekends at the local driving range just practicing on my game. From driving, from working on my short game, iron work, chipping, putting, you name it, I was working on my game at the driving range. Saturdays and Sundays. I would even take my kids at times, against their will, of course, just so I can share the experience. But they didn't like it. They didn't having any fun. They hated going. I didn't have any friends that enjoyed the game, that played the game. So, I was basically on my own. I would go play 18 holes with complete strangers. That was fun. But then, when we're not playing the game, I liked golf. I liked talking about golf. My wife wasn't interested in golf. And, I had nobody to talk to. There was no, platform where I could just chat about golf 24/7. I was so obsessed with golf that I would spend money on magazines. I would spend money on golf clubs. I even bought a putting mat for my living room floor, which my cat ended up destroying. I just love golf so much. I was so obsessed with golf that my wife would call my golf club golf sticks, and it infuriated me. Can you believe that? Golf sticks? How dare you? So then, I was trying to find a way that I can satisfy this hunger for golf that I had. Along comes the movie The Social Network. Yeah, The Social Network. And the creation of Facebook, supposedly. Now you must understand, I didn't know this at the time, but Facebook, mobile app, and web design are three completely different things. I mean, I didn't know that, so I thought web design, you learn web design, you can do all that. So I just without doing any research, head first, I dove into web design. I started paying money for online courses, books. I started watching endless amount of free tutorials on YouTube on how to create, how to code. I learned HTML, I learned CSS, I learned Bootstrap. But the problem for me, the most frustrating problem for me, was learning JavaScript. Now, if you're watching this video and you know JavaScript, I envy you. JavaScript was one of those languages that I always wanted to learn, but for some reason it just didn't click. I knew variables, I knew loops, I knew functions, but it just wasn't clicking. I didn't get it. It wasn't it didn't stick in my head. It got so bad that I would take time off, months on end, just to get my head away from it and just to come up with a strategy to see what am I doing wrong, if there's a better way of learning this. I will continue spending money on more courses to see if it was easier. To no avail. It just wouldn't click. I'll go back to it. HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. Oh, that was easy. I learned that. I could code. I can design and code a website, a e-commerce site, or blog, or whatever, just with those three alone. But when it comes to programming it, functionality, that was the part that drove me nuts. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I would spend time, like endless nights, just trying to grasp the language, but I just didn't get it. Now many might say, oh, JavaScript, oh, that's an easy language to learn, just as easy as Python. But it wasn't for me. It's not for me. It just wasn't my thing. I don't know, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. But I knew I wanted to stay in that field. I wanted to do design. Now at that point, I was in school and I was learning new media technology. I was working with Adobe, the Creative Suite. Now, full disclosure, I'm not being paid by Adobe, so I just like using the products. They're awesome. I love it. I was learning to use Photoshop, Illustrator, and all that. and I started learning how to UX design. I loved using it. So I'm like, okay, is there a field? Can I still do this for a living? I was at that point. I was also an account manager, and I kind of wanted a career change. So I knew this was the industry I wanted to do. I wanted to go into, which is tech industry, designing. But I don't know. JavaScript scared me. I came across UX design, and the more I read, the more research I did, the more I learned that you design mobile apps, you design websites for clients, and you can make a good living out of it. So I kind of started in that direction. I started investing money in online courses, books, and I started working with UX design. Now, when I came, one of my research, and one of the things that really inspired me to just pursue it even more was that a lot of UX designers. Now, keep in mind, this is research I did years ago, back 2013, around there, 14. Was that a lot of UX designers don't know how to code. I did, to some extent. I knew HTML, CSS. I knew the front end stuff, except for JavaScript. I knew the front end stuff. So that's something I knew that many didn't at the time. So that's something I could offer my clients. I already knew I kind of wanted to do freelance work as well. So I started UX design. And I learned, I started just learning the basics, working with Adobe XD, editing images on Photoshop, working with Illustrator, and so forth. Once I thought I had everything down pat, I started my own freelance work on Fiverr. Now, the funny thing is that Fiverr is great. I've done a lot of work on Fiverr. Web design, mobile apps, and web design and stuff like that. I designed them. My clients were very happy. But if I wanted to do this, like work for a major company, there was a lot still left that I needed to learn. I didn't know that. I'm gonna make a video on the most embarrassing thing that happened to me when I started applying to UX design positions at companies. But that's going to be my next video, so keep an eye out for that. But moving on to how I got into UX design. So, coding, web design was very frustrated with it, and UX design was something that I saw that could benefit me financially, help my family out. So I started pursuing that. And when I started doing freelance work, I there's a lot I can offer aside from just designing. I can offer consultation. If you want to do a design, I can tell my clients, and there were times that I did how they should go about creating their websites. So. That's how I got into UX design. It was funny how everything started out with golf. I kind of put that whole golf mobile app thing aside. I mean, I have it still there, but I haven't played golf in many years because I've been working on working on some things that I'll talk about in later videos. UX design is something that it's very rewarding for me. I love doing it. It's a lot of work. Keep in mind, technology, changes every couple of years. So there's something you're gonna have to learn every time for UX design. It's not you just take a course. Oh, that's it. I'm a professional. No, there's a lot of things you gotta know. You gotta keep learning. So that's what's one of the fun things for me about UX design. I like learning new things, especially if it's for that field. So, just in closing, it's funny how you start off doing one thing or wanting to do one thing, and just, life happens, and you got to learn how to pivot. You got to learn how to change directions, and so that's what I did. I started out, being massively obsessive with golf. I wanted to do something that would help me find golf buddies, and thinking I knew what I was doing, I started learning web design, and from web design, I ended up doing UX design, which I am currently doing as a freelancer. You can check out my portfolio at the bottom link. And you know what? If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be talking a lot more about my journey as a UX designer, managing everything, with a family and a bunch of responsibilities at the tender age of 45. So stay tuned, stay safe, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye.